This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
Thank you for tuning in to the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast, where we discuss everything in the world of sports. We have a new host to the show, and his name is Anthony. Anthony, welcome in.
Thank you. Feels good to be here.
We have Alex, as always.
I'm still here. Thanks
and
for
myself,
forgetting me, Ben.
I didn't forget about you.
Replace
I can
me.
never forget about you.
Okay,
and
thanks.
myself, Ben. So we are rolling with 3 people now, and it is a great feeling.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it. It's like if you don't get one of my jokes, I can look at him and be like, mm-hmm.
And then when he doesn't get it, we'll both look at you and kind of go like, yeah, that one wasn't really too good.
And then I can have an excuse for not talking for 5 minutes.
Yeah, because he and I can just go back and forth. So,
Because my joke failed, and I'm thinking of a way to redeem myself.
well, I mean, obviously, sometimes you're going to step up to the plate and you're going to hit home runs. And sometimes you're just going to strike out.
Like Tim Tebow.
Well, no, he hit a home run in batting practice yesterday, so he was doing quite well.
And I'm sure he's struck out before, too.
I'm sure he has. But you know what? He's going to get back up there and try it again.
And then strike out again.
Yep.
Well, you never know, man. You know, Fort Lauderdale down there in Florida, he's taking it over now.
A lot of humidity, man. The bat slips out of your hand.
I don't think it's slipping out of his hands, but... But you know what? We'll talk a little bit about Tebow, because I have a trending story for you, and I think you're going to be upset, because I know you're not the biggest Tim Tebow fan.
I don't care about the dude.
No, well, I'll tell you. I'll save that for the end.
Do
So,
whatever you want, man.
as far as the rundown for today's show, we're going to be talking some more about NFL injuries. I know Alex talked about a little bit yesterday, but we have a lot more now. Some timetables on some players, people like Jay Cutler, Doug Martin, Ameer Abdullah, so among others. And then we're going to talk about David Ortiz last night hitting his 36th home run, which is the most ever by a player in his last season, just what he's meant this year to the Red Sox. And they're really pulling away in that AL East. Looks like they have a firm grip on that division, and they're going to win that division.
Yep.
And then we will close the show with our ever so popular What's Trending. I know we all have a great amount of stories to talk about.
I'm pretty excited. You excited?
I'm always excited for the show.
Are you excited?
So excited.
First show, I know he's
I
excited.
know he's excited.
I know he's excited.
Ben hated the first show.
What are you talking about? Why do you say that?
Because you had to sit down and just talk to me the whole time.
I love talking to you. I've known you since high school.
You hear that I love like the live
Little high
voice.
pitched.
Yeah. What is that? It's like
not
Friends.
lying.
It's Friends when Ross goes, I'm fine, and he goes, really? Because why is your voice all squeaky? He goes, no, really, I'm fine. And gets all.
I love talking to you.
Thanks, Ben.
All right, so where should we start with the injury report?
I can start with some defensive players.
Go.
Okay, I'm ready. So the Bears had a pretty bad day injury-wise on Monday, regardless of the fact that they also lost the game. But Danny Trevathan, their linebacker who came over from the Broncos, he is actually going to require surgery on his thumb, and he'll be out a few weeks. You know, it's not going to end his season, but he's out for a decent amount of time. He was their leading tackler in Week 1, 11 tackles and a sack against Houston. But you know, he's going to be out for a little amount of time for somebody that they signed to a $28 million 4-year contract in the offseason. Lamar Houston is also going to be out, missing some time, try the whole season.
No, this is really just a case of the bad news Bears.
Oh my God, man. Well, anyway, jeez, I got to regroup
You like
from
that
that.
one?
He tore his ACL. And defensive tackle Eddie Goldman has a high ankle sprain. He's out about 4 weeks. That's all one team, Ben.
Like I said,
Now,
the bad news Bears.
I'll leave the leader of the Bad News Bears to you to take care of, but I'll move to some other defensive players throughout the league real quick before moving back to some players we have already listed. Remember, Keanu Neal got hurt in the preseason. First-round pick of the Falcons. He's going to practice this week.
Okay, that's good. He's coming back.
Yeah, he's going to practice this week, and he could return to play in Week 3 against the Saints.
A good division game. I expect a lot of points. So
I mean, we'll see. We expected a lot of points between the rematch of the 6-7 touchdown game from last year in the Giants and the Saints, and that didn't happen.
Yeah, and Eli Manning is my fantasy quarterback, so...
You're dumb for picking Eli Manning as your fantasy
And you
quarterback.
know what? I still won, okay? So thank you.
What did everybody else score out of their minds, and Eli got you 6 points?
Eli got me 12, to be honest. And kind of, because I had Matt Forte, who did exceptionally well against the Bills. 100 yards and 3 scores.
You're lucky he got right on 100 yards. You get the boost for 100 yards?
No, we don't play that way.
Oh, that's dumb, dude.
I don't like that.
Get the boost.
What's the point of that? Why you need that?
And I don't know.
It's like, I don't like
makes
that.
it better.
I don't know about
I like
you
high
guys.
scores.
I don't know about you guys, but I don't like that because you have like an ultimate equalizer. Because say someone gets 100 yards and you get an extra 2 points, but someone gets like maybe 99 yards. Like, why should you get an extra 2 points because you got 1 more yard?
Because you're better than them.
And that's not necessarily the case. I don't know. I've played in leagues like that before, but I'm not a big fan
Every one
of
of
that.
my leagues is like that.
Yeah, I don't really like that.
What about you?
Yeah, half of my leagues, one of them you get it's not even 2, it's like 10 or something like that because they do it for like 50 yards, 100 yards.
Yeah, I've been on that
Ours
before.
is 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like every time you do one little thing extra, like one other yard from 49 to 50, extra points.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that, but everybody has their own rules they like to play with, so
That's true.
there's nothing wrong with that. But as you mentioned, the leader of I kind of feel bad saying this, the leader of the Bears, because he's kind of had a rocky career.
He's like, you could say, like he's like the Charlie Brown of the Bears. He keeps getting the football pulled out from under him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know, but smoking Jay Cutler. So Jay Cutler, the quarterback of the Bears, as well as Danny Trevathan, did injure his thumb on Monday night. He kind of checked himself out of the game.
There's a rumor that he actually injured his thumb week 1.
Yeah, but he kind of checked himself out of the game on Monday night. People kind of criticized him for it.
Well,
a lot about like he did in the NFC Championship game a few years back against Green Bay.
Well, he did say that the interception was due to the thumb. He couldn't grip the ball. And I understand 100% as somebody they'd want to say like they're gonna hurt the team. You know, he didn't know if he could grip it, if he could throw it. You know, he figured the team would be better off with somebody who could actually throw the ball, and he knew that wasn't him at that time because that's the same thumb he broke in 2014. I believe was the year he broke it. So if I know that I can't help the team and I'm going to possibly hurt the team, then I think it's smarter for him to do that. I don't criticize him for that. I'm not a huge Jay Cutler fan, but I do think that he gets a lot of excess like crap for some of the stuff that he does. You know, he's criticized heavier than some people. I feel like.
Yeah, he does get criticized a lot, and I kind of have to say it's rightfully due. He is so up and down. He had a great couple of years, with Mark Trestman, but since then he's kind of went on that downward slope. And he's one of those guys that's capable of throwing 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, or 180 yards and 3 interceptions. There's just no real consistency with him. So, I guess you gotta sort of give him some criticism. But with his injured thumb, he's reportedly going to be out 2 to 3 weeks. So insert. You guys know who it is?
Brian Hoyer.
Brian Hoyer.
I forgot for a second. So before he came in on Monday night, I was like, Jimmy Clausen?
Oh, God.
I almost thought about Caleb Haney for a minute, but then I remembered.
But
then I remembered it was Brian Hoyer. Brian Hoyer has starting experience. Obviously,
he's one of those cusp guys.
He started a playoff game last year. Didn't go too well. Obviously, they lost against the Chiefs with the Texans, but
3 turnovers.
There's got to be worse backup quarterbacks in the league, right?
Sure. Yeah, Hoyer's not terrible. He'll get you about the same stats. He won't be as flashy. Won't get the good 50-yard bombs like Cutler will, but he'll get you 220 yards,
touchdown and 2 picks.
Yeah, basically.
I'm sure there's a lot of teams you could consider have worse backups. The Steelers with Landry Jones, Dan Orlovsky with the Lions.
He's still on the Lions.
Yeah,
the dude that ran out of the end zone.
Yeah,
I'd probably say Green Bay too, because our backup's Brett Hundley, who's never thrown a pass in the regular season.
But you can't say that he is bad or not. So,
but there's an unknown. So I guess you have Brian Hoyer starting their next game against the Dallas Cowboys. I gotta expect Dallas is gonna win that game on Sunday.
It's gonna be the battle of backups between Dak Prescott and Brian Hoyer.
And I already like Prescott a lot better.
Yeah, Dak Prescott has a rookie record for most completions without an interception at 77 or 75. But it's funny,
75.
But it's funny because Wentz is right behind him with 71 or 2. So, who's going to throw the pick first? I kind of want it to be Dak because then we'll see if there's a new rookie record, see if he passes him. But he hasn't thrown a touchdown pass yet. But
he does have a rushing touchdown.
He does have a rushing touchdown, and so does Ezekiel Elliott. He's got a couple of those. Their offense is playing well. better than they did last year with Romo
really
out.
conservative. Really,
yeah, but that's
really
what you want out of a rookie quarterback.
Playing to, I'd say both their guys with Philly and with Dallas, playing to their strengths.
Mm-hmm.
With Dallas, I would have expected a lot more, maybe some zone reads, maybe some play action bootlegs, because Prescott does have. I mean, Wentz does too, but Dak Prescott has the mobility.
Yeah, Wentz is quick. Yeah, he's like Alex Smith quick when he was young. He'll put a move on you. But Alex Smith was smart and knew when to slide. Wentz needs to learn how to do that. Did you watch?
He's still young.
Did you watch the game on Monday?
No.
He ran up this. He ran. It was from right going left.
We did the spin move.
Yeah, he ran up the sideline and then instead of going out of bounds when he could have, there was people. He spun to like almost stay in bounds and got rolled. And then there's another one where he like took on a tackler, and got kind of spun down. And then somebody came in a little late, but it wasn't like late like excessive penalty late, but like maybe a couple seconds after, like really quick, bang bang, and got his leg, and they kind of like something that would totally mess your groin up. I was like, this dude needs to protect himself.
Kind of like Andrew Luck still needs to learn to slide.
Except for Andrew Luck will run you over.
Wentz is a big guy too. He's about 6'5".
Wentz is big, but have you seen some of the tackles Andrew Luck made when he was at Cal?
Yeah, he would go right at the guy.
I remember that play.
They told him to stop doing that because he'll
Cal.
go find the person that intercepted it and he'll mess them up. He did it against Cal. He rolled that dude
like the water boy.
Yeah,
he'll look for number 62, and
except for this was a corner, so Luck was much bigger.
All right, so back on with the topic, the injuries. Obviously, the muscle hamster Doug Martin, running back from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he hurt his hamstring.
Hey man, he hates that nickname.
Well, I'm sorry, but that's his nickname.
Stop looking like a muscle hamster.
He hurt his hamstring in week 2. He's going to be missing about 3 weeks. So you can insert Charles Sims, the young running back from West Virginia, a good receiving back.
Do they
good
still
mixture.
have Rainey?
No, he is on the Giants now.
Oh.
But when I look at Charles Sims, I really look at the same kind of player as Matt Forte. Similar styles, similar build. I think he can come in and contribute to the Bucs.
No, he's played well for them in sparing time. Given Doug Martin breathers in the past, you know what I mean. And they signed Jaquiz Rogers too.
Yes.
So I mean, hey, Jaquiz Rogers. They have.
He was successful with Atlanta at times.
Yeah,
he was good receiving back.
I remember
as well.
he came into the league the same time as who was the one that was on the Niners. One came from Oregon, came from Oregon State.
Michael James?
Yeah, they came at the same time. So people always compare the two of them, but Michael James isn't really playing anymore. So I guess Jaquiz won that one.
He did.
They also have undrafted rookie Peyton Barber from Auburn.
Okay, and then last on our injury report, we have Ameer Abdullah, the Detroit Lions young running back from Nebraska. He is also had to leave the game last week. So you insert Theo Riddick, obviously a good receiving back.
I drafted him on my fantasy team because
if you're in a PPR league, he's gold.
That's why, yeah. And he's always money to me. Well, I'm hoping this doesn't affect it because they typically they really use him as a weird kind of. They use him kind of how McCluster was used in the Chiefs.
He just signed with the Chargers too.
Mm-hmm. They use him in a weird way where they'll have him run and they'll have him take like sweeps and they'll also have him as a receiver. And I mean he's a good player out of Notre Dame. You know what I mean? He's played well for that team, but I'm hoping it doesn't affect my fantasy team. You know, like they put him back there just to run the ball.
I think that would give him some carries because Ameer Abdullah actually is going on IR with a foot injury, so he's done for at least a while.
At least 6 weeks if it's
they can bring him
back
off the IR, just like sort of the Browns can do with Robert Griffin. The same thing, but he has a shoulder injury.
Well, see, this is the first year that they kind of changed it where you don't have to designate that person right away. You know, you can bring him back, but yeah, it's at least 6 weeks.
Yeah, so bad news for Detroit Lions. They face the Green Bay Packers in their next game on Sunday.
They do indeed. And one more injury news is just between two players is Gronkowski and Garoppolo. Gronkowski's limited this week, and so is Garoppolo. I don't see Garoppolo playing though.
They haven't counted him out. The Patriots did say that they are preparing Julian Edelman to be their backup if need be. So that tells me that Garoppolo can maybe at least be active as the backup.
Emergency quarterback.
Because they wouldn't. They obviously brought in a few quarterbacks to work out, but they did not sign anyone. Yeah. So that would tell me that Garoppolo is going to be at least active to be the backup, maybe the emergency guy. Because you wouldn't want to have Julian Edelman. I realize he was a former college quarterback at Kent State. But you wouldn't want to have your best wide receiver in at quarterback.
Well, you know he's going to know the offense better than some guy that came in at the beginning of the week, especially a Bill Belichick offense. Remember Chad Ochocinco, who was a good football player? He could never pick up that offense. He spent the entire year there, and he's not like he's a dumb guy. You know, he's a clever dude. especially with football stuff.
No, I know.
It's related in a sense, and he can never pick it up. Some guys just couldn't pick it up.
Right, but I don't think you'd want to have your best wide receiver as your backup. So that's why I think at least Garoppolo will be active and be a backup. We'll have to wait and see. It is, just tomorrow. So
yes, it is. Oh yeah, it's a color rush game too.
I'm surprised that Garoppolo can come back as quickly as he can. They're not even counting him out. If it was up to me, I would, as far as Gronkowski is concerned, I would rest him until at least the next game because you have a week and a half to prepare for the Bills in Week 4. Mm-hmm. The Texans are going to be a tough game. They're undefeated, 2-0, good defense. So I'm not going to count out the Patriots from losing because I don't think you can ever count out Belichick. Right. Look at what they did Week 1 against the Cardinals. So I don't know, but with maybe Jacoby Brissett, I think that'd be a lot more tough than Garoppolo. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. You guys will preview it tomorrow. So
yes,
I'll
will.
leave it with that.
Yeah, we will. We'll preview that game heading into tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think also with something with Gronkowski, I thought they were going to play him for Brissett just as a safety valve, kind of just help him out. But they also have Bennett. Bennett's
played well.
He's not as good as Gronk, but he's still really good to be that safety valve. Just if you're freaked out, you catch the ball.
He's a solid tight end.
He's a pretty good backup tight end.
He played really good last week. He didn't do too well in Week 1 against Arizona, but he had over 100 yards and a touchdown last week. So.
The offense was kind of Week 1.
Yeah, I know. It'll get more and more complex for these guys as the weeks go on. Then you just have 2 weeks until Brady's back. So
we're preparing for a Jacoby Brissett start.
Yes.
Who would have thought Jacoby Brissett starting before Jared Goff?
And Cody Kessler of the Browns.
I'm excited for that. Let's see some Cody Kessler magic.
Magic, huh? Mm-hmm. We'll have to wait and see.
2 scores.
With how the Browns are going.
It's the Browns. There's no magic with the Browns.
There's black magic with the Browns. It's just not good.
I guess you can say that.
Somebody sold their soul a long time ago, and now this is the bad side of it.
For
those late 80s runs, somebody sold it.
Yeah, but that didn't even go well for him. Yeah, Ernest Biner fumbling. It wouldn't even go well for them then.
Mm-hmm. It's always the catch. Somebody didn't follow through with their end of the deal.
If there is a positive for the Browns, it's that who they're playing, the Dolphins, are also 0-2. So something's got to give. One of these teams has to get their first win. I'll watch it'll end in a tie. And then it'll end in a tie.
You're harsh, man.
With the Browns, anything is possible. It's impossible to predict them. I picked them to beat the Eagles in Week 1, and then since then I realized
that was a mistake.
I made a big mistake. So
only the Browns can literally go from a 20-0 lead and lose 20-25.
I feel bad for them though.
As people called it, the Browns browned themselves. That's just the most brown move the Browns could ever make.
Yes, you can say that.
I just did.
I'm glad you did, bud.
Thanks, man. All right, let's take our first break. We'll come back. We'll talk baseball. How about that, Ben? Does that sound good?
Yes.
Anthony, does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay, we'll take our first break, come back, and talk some baseball here at the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Hey, and we're back here at the Golden State Media Concept Sports Podcast, and we're going to throw it over to Ben as we jump into some baseball.
Yes, so baseball news. David Ortiz making some history last night, hitting his 36th home run of the season at 40 years old. Quite impressive, guys. But with that, he becomes the oldest player and the highest number of home runs in his final season. So Ortiz at 40 hits 36. Obviously, he still has some time to go. So maybe he'll get to 40 at age 40. That'd be quite impressive. But he passed Dave Kingman for the most home runs by a major leaguer in his final season. So Kingman was 37. He hit 35 home runs for the A's in 1986. So David Ortiz arguably having one of his best seasons of his career. As I mentioned, 36 home runs, 121 RBIs. He's slugging .634, which is his highest ever. How impressive has he been this year?
I've talked about him before.
Seriously.
Yeah, I've talked about him before on the show, and he's lighting it up. I've always really liked David Ortiz. He's probably arguably the best DH of all time.
Oh yeah, he's absolutely the best DH. Like Edgar Martinez is great, but everything he's done regular season, postseason, he's got to be the best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's hitting .318 this year, which is tied for second overall in his career. His highest was .332. So I mean, he's having a great season, and the Red Sox in general having a great season, leading pretty much every offensive category for the most part. They're currently in first place in the AL East. They have a 4-game lead over Toronto Blue Jays and a 5-game lead over the Orioles, which they've really stretched out because they've won 6 in a row. They have 8-2 record in their last 10. They've been really, really lights out, the Red Sox.
Yeah, I mean, they've had 2 different players with, really, really, really long, game hitting streaks. Sorry, I couldn't find the words. Game hitting streaks and players that are just leading all their categories. Offensively, like you said, they've had a great, great year. And they've backed that up with not amazing pitching, but solid pitching,
Yeah, Rick Porcello is probably one of the favorites for the Cy Young in the AL.
And especially besides him, too. I mean, again, not everybody they're not pitching lights out, but when you're scoring that many runs that they have been throughout the season, I mean, you can only lose so many games due to pitching, you know what I mean? It's impressive to see. I mean, they're clearly the favorite in their division, obviously. I forget how many games they're exactly up currently.
They're up 4 over Toronto.
One would imagine with about a week and a half left of the regular season that they would hold on to that lead with the way they're playing. Toronto's playing well, but unless there's just a drastic drop in wins for the Red Sox, one's going to imagine. I mean, they're going to at least make the playoffs. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, the Red Sox.
Let's put it. I mean, they're probably going to win their division.
The Red Sox have the second highest run differential in the league.
Yeah.
All right, Anthony, what do we think about the Red Sox chances in the American League? Obviously, you look at Cleveland, you look at Texas, and then obviously the wild card. You have 2 teams, but I honestly believe it's going to be 2 teams from the AL East. So I'm going to say Toronto and Baltimore as well.
Yeah.
What do we think about the Red Sox chances in the playoffs? Because it looks like they're going to get there.
Yeah, it looks like they'll probably make it. So generally what happens in the postseason, like you can have the best offense in the world, but generally like pitching helps more with that. And so the pitching is fine. Like it's not terrible by any stretch. Porcello's doing well. You take something like Texas. Texas has not as good of an offense, but they've got Beltran. They've got Beltre. Like, they got people who can do the same offensive things, and I would probably favor them a little bit more. Cleveland, yeah, I mean, Cleveland's really good too, but I would probably go Texas more than anything else. But then you also have Ortiz, who in the postseason from 04, 07, and 2011, just was amazing, and he can pretty much carry the team on his back. I mean, him, Betts, Bogart, and even Hanley Ramirez is doing really good.
Yeah, Hanley's playing well the last few weeks.
Yeah, he's basically as good as he is in the past 5-6 years.
You still have Dustin Pedroia on your team.
You still got Dustin Pedroia.
Second in the AL in average, Pedroia. He's having a great season.
Yeah.
I think what you said made a lot of sense. Sorry. I do like Texas. I think they're probably still the favorite in the American League. But I really like Baltimore because their bullpen is so good. Think about Zach Britton. He hasn't even blown a save this whole year.
I wish he was on my favorite team.
Well, that's the Giants, Alex, and they're quite the opposite. They have the most blown saves in the
40
in the majors.
30, 40, something like that.
God.
So I mean, unfortunately, maybe you guys can trade for Zach Britton of Baltimore because he hasn't blown a save. I'd say he's obviously as well as one of the favorites for the AL Cy Young, which you don't see.
You don't see closers get much. But
You know,
when you don't blow one, there you go.
Saw Eric Gagne with the Dodgers a while back,
I
but
remember Gagne.
that was about it. So
Did Gagne wear the goggles?
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, because like Eric the Goggles Gagne. That's what I called him.
he had a couple of great seasons. I think he went. God, I think he was over 100 saves in a row.
That dude's insane.
He was incredible for a couple of years
And then
there
he
in
just
LA.
dropped off.
He went to like Milwaukee.
He
and
dropped off
kinda
like
died.
a nasty curveball, man.
He just fell like that sinker.
Mine was better than yours.
But it was okay. It was there, right?
Mine was better than yours.
Okay, but it was there. That's what I
it
said.
was there. Well, hey, Ben, there's something you wanted to talk about, I think, right?
Okay, it's just frustrating.
Before we take our last break,
it's just frustrating me, and I really want to get your guys' opinion on this.
Okay.
So we currently have
I'll
the
be happy to
world.
explain to you, too, because I now have reasonable explanations for both of them. So
I still don't think it's reasonable.
Well,
but anyways, we'll get on
I
it.
have explanations
Okay,
for them.
so we have the World Cup of hockey going on.
Yes.
Obviously, I'm a big fan of World Cup, being the soccer guy. So I think World Cup and I think, boom, really interesting, okay? So we have the World Cup of hockey. We only have 8 teams in it. Okay, not really surprised. Hockey really dominated by Canada, United States, and then a few countries in Europe. Mm-hmm. So I was listening to this sort of teaser, and it talked about Team North America playing somebody. And I'm like, I think it was like Finland or something. But Team North America plays, and I'm like, oh, wow, Team North America, they ought to just kill everyone. They have the U.S. and Canada. Mm-hmm. And then I see another teaser, and it's like, oh, the United States are playing Canada the same night. And I'm like, wait a second. Canada and the United States of America are both in North America. So who is on Team North America?
Team North America. Okay, ready for this? It represents players 23 and under from Canada and the United States. They're nicknamed the Young Guns. The team participated in their first ever match. That was back in September of this year, actually, as a matter of fact. So they're a new team, and they defeated Team Europe 4-0, as a matter of fact. Team North America is captained by Edmonton Oilers, Connor McDavid. So think of them as the U21s.
The rejects, in my opinion, because it's Canada and United States.
Think of them exactly like the soccer with the under 21s and stuff.
But they're still part of the Germany under 21. It's not the European under 21 team.
They combined them because they didn't have enough players.
You can't tell me there's not two other countries.
Team North America is between Canada and the United States. It's 23 and under. Now, who is the other team you have a problem with?
Okay, so we have Czech Republic, Sweden, Russia, and Finland. Okay. So we have those 4 countries, all part of Europe. Mm-hmm. But then we have Team Europe.
Team Europe consists of players from Austria, Denmark, France, Germany, Norway, Slovakia, Slovenia, and Switzerland. It represents countries in Europe not otherwise represented at the World Cup of Hockey, referring to the Czech Republic, Finland, Russia, and Sweden, which are, like you said, already represented there.
It just makes no sense. If you're going to have a competition like this, shouldn't you at least have enough full countries to participate? Not just a conglomeration of Team Europe and Team US or Team North America. I'm sorry.
Maybe Austria, Denmark, France, Germany, Norway, Slovakia, Slovenia, and Switzerland don't have enough to field each of their own teams.
I just don't
and
like
be
this.
Consistently competitive in a World Cup.
I just don't like this because
they're not going to field some crap amateur team.
Every other competition you have. Think about the World Cup. You have nations. Uh-huh. Think about the World Cup of softball. You have nations. The Olympics. You don't have a conglomeration of countries.
It's true.
But do you want to have just, instead of Team Europe, just like Team Slovakia and have them lose like 97-1?
That would be the best game I've ever seen.
Well, it'd be really fun to see, but
you see that in other competitions. When we think about on the soccer show, Alex, we talked about the Olympics. Think about Team Fiji. They got outscored 23-1 in their 3 games. Mm-hmm. It's not Pacific Island teams.
The Olympics is supposed to be for every nation.
But still, I'm just not a fan of this. I don't know. Because when I think of World Cups and international competitions, I don't see Team Europe or Team Asia or Team United States. I just don't like that. I'm not a fan.
Okay.
But anyways, if you are a fan of the World Cup of hockey, so in Group A you have Canada and Team Europe both at 2-0, so both of those 2 teams will be advancing. You have United States and Czech Republic totally out of it. They're eliminated. And then in Group B, you have Sweden.
You still got Team North America, though.
You have Sweden atop Group B at 2-0. You have Russia and Team North America at 1-1. So I guess we can go for Connor McDavid and the Young Guns. And then you have Finland at 0-2, so they are as well out of it. But if you're a fan of the World Cup of hockey, it is currently going on. So
boom, boom. All right.
I don't know.
All right, Ben. I'm not used to this. Sorry. Okay, all right, Ben and Anthony. Let's take our second break. Our last break. We'll come back and we'll do what's trending. You excited for that? Huh?
I'm always excited for that.
Okay. No, you don't sound like it. Okay. Don't stare at me. We'll take our last break. We'll come back and we'll do what's trending. Right back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
And we're back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. We're going to end the show with our ever so popular What's Trending. So, Alex, you only have one for us today. Anthony are going to pretty much do a lot of the segment. So why don't you go first?
I wanted him to get really the feel of it. You know?
Why don't you go first?
Okay. You ready?
Yes, of course.
I always got to make sure. Okay, so for baseball fans, they know that Yasiel Puig and Madison Bumgarner are not too fond of one another. They have had altercations. I want to say this is the fourth time. Monday they had another one where the bench is cleared because Madison Bumgarner on a routine ground out threw the ball to first base, one of those underhand kind of in between first and pitching mound, underhand kind of throw him out. And he realized that Puig was kind of staring at him. So he says, "Don't look at me." And Puig, obviously, I don't know if he didn't understand him. I don't know.
Doesn't speak much English.
Yeah,
so.
or just he said something back at him. You know what I mean? That's the funniest thing to me is they yell at each other without knowing what the other one's saying. But
right, that happens in soccer all the time because you
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of players on different countries. So you'll have someone get up and he'll like scream at a guy. And then like it happened yesterday in the game, Arsenal played Nottingham Forest. So our striker, Lucas Perez, who's from Spain, he scored a goal, but he got like tackled as he was kicking it. So he got up and then he started like screaming something. And I can only assume he's talking in Spanish. And the guy's like, "Dude, I don't know what you're telling me."
Nottingham Forest, that sounds like a romantic novel from the mid-'90s. Okay, but anyway, so they yelled back and forth at each other, and then Madison Bumgarner just said back to him again, "Don't look at me." He says, "Don't look at me." So Puig and Bumgarner may not like one another very much, but former Giant, who is now on the Dodgers, Charlie Culberson, thought it would be fun as like a little, not like bad, not good, a little fun way of icebreaker. They had Puig sign a T-shirt bearing the inscription #Don't Look at Me across the front of it in block letters, excuse me, and they put it in blue shirt, white letters, and then in the middle of the two O's in look, because it's all one word. Obviously, it's a hashtag. I can't tell what it is, but there's something inside the O's. But they said
the eyes, I would assume.
No, that's what I thought, but it doesn't say that. But Yasiel Puig wrote a lot of messages on the shirt. One said, "I like you." One said, "Him, don't look at me." One said, "Don't look at me," and a signature with the number 66 on it. "I like you" it's all capital too. It looks like a kid wrote it all big. Like not saying his handwriting sucks, but it's just all big. Like, "I like you."
Sound like Borat.
Yeah, and then that's why I said it like that. And then they had the Dodgers clubhouse attendant put it in Bumgarner's shirt for after the game. Pretty funny,
clever.
right?
I mean, you have the Giants and Dodgers rivalry, so
Yeah, Brandon Belt said it was really funny. He said it was a hit in the clubhouse. And then now they have the shirt for everybody on the team, and there's a picture of it looks like JD Puig and I forget Adrian's last name. Adrian
Gonzalez.
I was like, I tried to look at him.
That'd be great if they wore them like
They just won't
pregame.
covering their eyes though.
It'd be great if they wore them like pregame in batting
warming
practice.
up. Well,
yeah.
hey man, the Dodgers or the Giants can win the series. Well, one of them will win this part of the series. They play again next week, at the end of next week. But one of them is going to win the series tonight, so they very well could do it.
That'd be clever. I would do that.
Clever enough.
You said
Yeah.
that like Brandon Belt thought it was funny and everything
Yeah, he
else
did.
like that, but like did Bumgarner? Because he doesn't seem like the dude that like will go with this. He seems like he wants to fight the dude that gave him the shirt. Just like punch the messenger kind of thing.
Well, he did address the rift with Puig, not the shirt as far as I know. He said that'll make no difference to me, really, after hearing about the T-shirt before receiving it. If it were turned around, I'm sure we'd do the same thing. So he didn't, he didn't take it badly. Or anything.
Yeah,
He wasn't like,
okay.
what? I'm going to punch that kid in the face. Like, he said it doesn't make no difference to me. And just pure Bumgarner, that don't make a difference to me, really. But he didn't hate it or anything, so.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
you guys are up.
All right, so I guess I'll go first. So we all know LeBron James, obviously, 3 championships, one of the best players of all time in the NBA. So reports are that while his rookie card is up for auction, there's about 11 days remaining, currently at about $65,000. Yes, it is expected to sell for about $200,000.
Yeah, no, this isn't anything like the one I told you I have, but I have a LeBron James rookie card, and I really want to see how much that might be worth.
There's just like $15.
Dude,
It's like six bucks.
no, it's a rookie card. You got to believe it's worth. People who collect them, it could be worth a decent amount, especially for somebody who'd want to try to get it signed.
Yeah, this card is signed.
So, I believe if I got mine signed, it'd be worth a little bit more. But
so according to sports memorabilia expert Ken Golden, he says, quote, "It's sort of like finding Willy Wonka's golden ticket." Mm-hmm. So as I mentioned, it's autographed by LeBron. It features a game-worn jersey patch. And according to Golden, it's more valuable than the jersey LeBron James wore in Game 7 of the Finals last year. Think about them winning the championship. So this card would be worth more than that. $200,000.
It's pretty pricey. I wish I had it.
Think about this. 3 years ago, the Honus Wagner card sold for $2.1 million.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is nothing compared to that.
Nope.
$200,000, that's like a tenth of it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's
so
crazy for a card, for a trading card.
People take this stuff seriously. I have a lot of
I guess so. I mean,
old trading cards that I could look through and see if I had any worth money.
All of a sudden, you just go through one and it's worth like thousands. Mm-hmm. That'd be pretty cool. You should go through it. You should find out.
A lot of them are my dad's too. So I mean, I don't know if I could legitimately be like, all right, I found a really good one. I'm selling it. He'd be like, well, that's mine. So I collected those when I was a kid. That's my money.
Well, maybe he just what he doesn't know doesn't have to hurt him.
He's be like, "Where'd you get $60,000?"
I just stole it.
I won it.
Stole it.
I won it in a bet. I bet that you would ask me that question.
I sold something.
I sold your car.
All right, Anthony, what's up? What you got?
All right, so I have so every year before the season, Vegas does their thing where they release the odds over-unders for every single team.
Yes.
And as you probably expect, the Golden State Warriors, Cavaliers, Spurs, they're all at the top. The Warriors are 66.5.
Okay, 66.5.
Yeah.
What you think, over or under?
Probably under just because they don't care this year. Like last
think
year,
so? Even with signing Durant?
Well, that's why, because now their team is stupid loaded, and before they wanted to break the record. Like you could tell at a certain point, they're like, no, we're going to break this record, and they did, and then nothing. Like, you ended up being second place. Like, so this year, they have Durant, they have Clay, they have Steph, they have all these people. They're like, yeah, we just want to, because they want Curry to be healthy.
We're just going to win.
Yeah, we're just going to, we'll win games, but, one day they'll do the Spurs, the Popovich thing, where they're just like, yeah, you sit down. Like, don't worry about it.
They probably will, but here's my thing. So say they rest Steph and Durant.
Right.
Then you still have Klay Thompson and Draymond Green. Yep. That's probably better than most teams starting five, right? Unless you're playing like one of those powerhouses you mentioned.
Right.
If they're playing just an average day in the road in Milwaukee.
Yeah. I was going to say the Bucks. Nice.
You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't that still be able to beat them?
Oh, yeah.
So that's a lot, though.
Hey, I don't know. The Bucks are the first team to have beaten them last year.
66.5. So they'd have to win 67 games. So that's only 6 less than they did last year. I mean, on first glance, I'd probably go with you on under because you have to factor in chance of injuries. They were healthy last year. They didn't really have people miss a lot of games.
Relatively. Curry missed some games.
Okay, so what other teams are pretty high up? You said the Cavs
the Cavaliers,
and the Spurs.
They're both at 56.5.
Okay.
I probably would think the Cavaliers will get more than that just because it's the East, and the East has some good teams. Like, you have also the Celtics. They're at 51.5, which 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth. They're like fifth highest because they got Horford, and the team's going to be a little bit better. Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
Then all the way on the bottom.
Yeah, who's coming in at last?
Brooklyn. They're assuming they're just going to be the worst team because, they're Brooklyn, and the worst part of the thing for Brooklyn is, they don't even have their pick.
So what's their odds?
They are...
Or what's their over-under, I should say?
Yeah, their over-under is at...
Can't be 14.
No. It's not 14. It is... Why is Google not... Google's not my friend today.
It's okay, buddy. It's okay.
So, yeah, they are the worst. Oddly enough, the Philadelphia 76ers aren't the worst. They're assuming they're going to be a little bit better now that they got Ben Simmons. And
some of those players finally playing for the team.
Yeah, Sam Hinkie, I guess maybe his being gone, maybe they're going to assume it's going to be a little bit better. But, yeah, they're...
I love that. I like it.
I mean, if you can't find it, it's okay. But they're the worst. Okay, yeah. Obviously you would have thought initially it might be the Sixers. Maybe you could throw in the Lakers.
The Suns are down there.
I mean, their big free agent signing was, of course, the big man from Cleveland, Timofey Mozgov. I mean, that's not much,
Mozgov.
So he's most notably famous for getting dunked on.
For getting his name turned into a verb.
Yes.
Literally. But so you would think it would be one of those two teams. But the Nets, not really surprised. Probably their best player is Brook Lopez. He seems to always be injured. Joe Johnson's pretty old, so...
Yeah,
something tells me it's still going to be the Sixers because they've been so bad for the last few years. I have to go with them. You know what I mean? I'm going with history. So, I don't know. But, okay, Alex, so now I have some news that I know you're not going to like. Because it's about...
I hate this guy. I don't hate him.
You do not like Tim Tebow.
I don't care for his news. I could go the rest of my life without hearing about him again because
exactly, that's
I got
why.
a fill of his news from 2008 through now. But I don't hate him. I'm
Okay,
sure
Alex,
he's a nice
so
guy.
as we mentioned on Monday, the Mets released Tim Tebow jerseys,
Yes.
T-shirts, whatever. So since Monday, who has the highest selling jersey in baseball?
Tim Tebow.
Yes. Tim Tebow has sold the most jerseys in baseball since his jersey came out on Monday.
See, the funny thing is you can...
Can you guess who is second and third, though?
Mike Trout,
No.
Big Papi,
Number 2.
and
Number 3? Guesses all around?
NL or AL?
I'll give you a hint. NL.
Wow, thanks. I asked you for that.
Think of...
What position do they play?
Okay, third base.
Why are you saying it like okay, third base? Oh, Chris Bryant?
Yes. So Chris Bryant's 3. David Ortiz is 2. Obviously, David Ortiz last season, people are trying to get the last bit of David Ortiz memorabilia.
It's funny because Tebow, that jersey though, you think of he's a guy who's not even guaranteed a roster spot. He could never even make the
right.
team.
He might not even ever be on the Mets
But
official
everybody
roster.
will remember. It's not like it's going to become a jersey that people, we can't wear it. He's never on the roster. It's still a Tebow match.
That's the one thing I don't understand is what is
know?
the big hype over Tebow? Why does everybody love him? I never got that.
He's just a polarizing figure.
I mean, I guess so, but the highest selling jersey since Monday, Tim Tebow of the Mets, and he's never even played for them.
I mean, he's played some practice, reps with them.
That's not the same thing.
No, you think?
So, I mean, yeah, but I guess so. So David Ortiz 2, obviously final season,
Live and let
and then
die.
Chris Bryant number 3. The Cubs, a really popular team. Everyone's a Cubs fan right now. Chris
Nope.
Bryant probably
Not me.
the favorite to win the MVP in the NL in my eyes. So
Yeah, I would say as of right now, he probably is going to win it. I imagine he's going to win it. One would imagine he's playing pretty lights out.
yeah, he's doing really well. All right, so that's all I got today.
Anything else for you?
That's about it.
All right, well, let's get out of here then.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we'll show you what the little outro looks like. As always, you can find us on gsmcpodcast.com, as well as on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and Google Play. If you search GSMC Sports Podcast, you can find us on iTunes. I always forget, on Instagram and Twitter. Whenever I think of those two, it just makes me say iTunes. Twitter and Instagram at GSMC_sports, as well as on YouTube and Facebook at the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. You can find us on all those wonderful things. Ben and I do the soccer show together. All three of us now do sports show. And Jeremiah and I, who some of you might know from the football show, Anthony's joining us on that show as well.
Yes, that is true.
Ben is not doing anything. He's sticking to... You can find Ben on the baseball show, too,
There you go.
if you really want to listen to Ben talk. If you don't,
I would think people
if you
might
don't
want
listen to the football show.
Or the fantasy football show. Anthony's doing that with Jeremiah as well.
Oh, yeah.
On Friday.
On Friday. Are you doing that every week with him now?
Yeah, every Friday.
Just Friday?
Just Friday.
Oh, okay.
Not
so
Tuesday. I think Tuesday's the day there. Just Friday.
Just Jeremiah on Tuesday. Okay. Well, how'd you like your first show?
Wasn't too bad. I mean, I kind of
Could have been better.
I mean, I could have not had Google crash
Oh, that's
and not
okay,
realize it was on the bottom, but yeah, outside
It's
of
going to
that.
happen.
That's okay.
Don't
Don't worry
worry.
about it. You're fine. It's a good first show. All right. Well, he and I will be back tomorrow. Ben is stupid and likes to go to school, so Ben won't be here with us.
That's right. I like to get my education.
Crazy kid. But Ben won't be. He'll be back on Friday. So Anthony, those days I'm not here.
Okay.
So Anthony and I will see you tomorrow. Ben will see you on Friday. Thank you guys for listening. As always, I'm Alex,
I'm Ben.
And I'm Anthony.
and we'll see you guys on the flip flop.